When our founding fathers established this republic, they created a political and economic system unique among nations, a system which has led the United States to the very pinnacle in wealth and in world leadership. This series of programs is being presented to help all of us understand better our advantages under our American way of life.
For today's topic, let's join now a group of young people at the National Education Program Workshop in Searcy, Arkansas. At the classroom lectern is Dr. Clifton L. Gaines, Jr., noted young historian.
Perhaps a number of you can recall the children's fable of the goose that laid the golden eggs. A certain man had a goose that laid eggs of solid gold, the most fabulous of all the geese on the earth. It assured its owner of more wealth for the necessities and luxuries of life than the possessor of any other goose could even dream of. And every morning the man would rub his hands in anticipation of the day's golden harvest. But one day the owner conceived a brilliant idea. Why not get all of the golden eggs at once? So he killed the goose. But alas, he found only a few half-developed eggs, and the source of his steady stream of daily riches was destroyed. The subject of our classroom discussion today is an element in our daily lives as important to all of us and our improving welfare as would be a goose that lays golden eggs. We're going to discuss profit, its indispensable place in our economic system, its immediate value to each individual citizen, and its relationship to economic progress in our nation. The profit system in America is truly a goose that lays golden eggs, that makes possible our abundance of so many of the material blessings of life. For breakfast this morning, I might have had cereal grown in Kansas and processed in Minnesota, bacon produced on an Iowa farm, cured, sliced, and packaged in Chicago, homogenized milk from a dairy 50 miles away, fruit juice from far-off Hawaii, and eggs from an Ozark poultry farm. This is a bigger and better breakfast than 90% of the world's people enjoyed, and yet you students know that a professor's salary doesn't rank high on the economic ladder. The profit system, with its incentives for achievement, makes it possible for you and for me and for all Americans to have the advantages enjoyed by no other people under any other system. The socialists and communists and their fellow travelers seek to undermine the confidence of Americans in their economic system. They concentrate their major attack against profit and the profit system. So let's examine profit, our own self-interest in it, and its function in American progress. As you came in, Jane, I noticed that beautiful sweater you were wearing. It looks like genuine cashmere from the Himalayas.
Thank you, Professor Gaines, but it isn't cashmere. It's a new synthetic fiber, softer, lighter, and warmer than cashmere.
If an imported cashmere sweater costs about $35, Jane, would you mind telling us what your sweater cost?
Well, let's see. It was $6.95.
The company that made the fiber for Jane's sweater spent several $1 million on research before developing the chemical formula and the manufacturing process that made it possible. And where did it get the several $1 million?
From profit?
Yes, from profit retained in the business to explore and expand and to develop new products. It seems to me that Jane's sweater, with its beauty and excellence and its comparatively low cost, gives us an excellent example of another value of the profit system. Profit, in a very real sense, is the fuel that motivates the machinery of our progress, providing us with better things for everyday living. The opponents of the profit system center their fire on corporation or business profits. So let's take a closer look at these profits. In the last year for which we have the official statistics of the Department of Commerce, our national income was approximately $300 billion. The net profit of all the corporations in America amounted to 5 9/10% of the total income, or about $17,800 million. And here's the rest of the national income. This big segment represents the personal income and taxes. The tax slice, incidentally, was $90 billion, or almost 30% of the total gross national income. Now let's examine this profit slice. We find that a part of the net profit, $9.9 billion, was paid out in dividends to the stockholders. Can someone give us the figure on the number of stockholders with their dimes and dollars invested in American industry?
Oh, I'd say 1.5 million, at least.
Actually, there are approximately 18 million stockholders, so that the total dividend payment is widely diffused throughout our population. After dividends, this slice is the amount that was plowed back into the business, 2 6/10%, or $7.9 billion, to buy new machines, to pay for research, to develop new production methods and new products, to expand the plant, to help build new plants, to make new jobs, and to make the present jobs better, and of special interest to the consumer public, to make better products at lower cost, like Jane's sweater, for instance. We have been talking about the divisions in national income. Now let's have a look at profit from the viewpoint of the sales dollar. In the last year, for which we have official figures, the annual sales of all the corporations in America totaled $508.52 billion. Now I would like to have some estimates as to the percentage of profit the corporations made on this volume of sales.
Professor Gaines, I'd say 12%.
I'd say 15%.
I'd say about 10%.
Well, on the $508 billion in sales, the profit after taxes totaled $16.96 billion, 3 1/3%. Not 10 or 12 or 15%, but 3 1/3. And we mustn't forget that frequently thousands of companies fail to make a profit. Rather, they sustain a loss. Our system might well be called a profit and loss system. We can narrow our examination of profit still more by looking at the annual financial statement of one company. I have chosen a big packing company, dealing primarily in the processing of meat products. Here is the breakdown of its sales dollar. This big slice, 73 2/10 cents out of each sales dollar, was paid out by the company for raw materials, beef cattle, hogs, sheep, and so forth. This next big slice, 13 1/10 cents of each sales dollar, was paid to employees in wages, salaries, and benefits. Shipping costs amounted to 2 6/10 cents. Supplies, chemicals, packaging, and so forth cost the company 5 cents on each dollar. 1 3/10 cents were dipped out by taxes. Plant maintenance and the other necessary services for doing business cost 4 cents on each sales dollar. That left in net profit this little sliver, 0.8 of 1 cent. Here is a big packing company whose brand name is familiar all over the world, actually making less than 1 penny net profit on each dollar's worth of products sold. Let's consider it this way. If the profit margin of this packing company had been entirely eliminated, a dollar's worth of meat still would have cost the American housewife 99 cents. A penny in profit from each 100 pennies of sales. In fact, a little less than a penny, 0.8. A fraction of this packing company's profit penny from each sales dollar was paid in dividends to the 65,000 stockholders. To the other fraction, the company conducted a pioneering research program, developed new and better products in a vast array, tested and put into operation new production methods, installed new machinery, kept the pace of keen competition, thus improving the job security of all its 75,000 employees, built new plants, and created a host of new job opportunities. Each new job in American industry, incidentally, requires the investment on the average of $12,000 for machinery, plant, working capital, and so forth. $12,000 for each job created. And with our growing population, we must create nearly 1 million new jobs a year. The big share of the money to create these jobs must come out of the profits of corporations. So we see how vitally important profits are, how much they mean to every citizen. how necessary profits are to every successful company and its employees, and to a healthy, progressing nation. We have learned that corporation profits, on the average, are a great deal smaller than most people believe, that the profit dollars or the profit pennies work in marvelous ways to produce material blessings for all Americans. Profit is truly the lifeblood of our progress, the accelerator of the rising living standard in America, which is the envy of all the world. Our next discussion will be on freedom and security. But for now, class dismissed.
The American Adventure Series is a production of the National Education Program, Searcy, Arkansas. Dr. George S. Benson, director. Dr. Clifton L. Gaines, Jr. was our instructor. This is a continuing series based on the unique political and economic system which has made America great. Watch for the next presentation of the American Adventure.